Hi, all my dear students. Welcome back to the second part of the play Harvest. In this video, we are going to see the detailed summary of the play. That means the detailed summary means that having a lot of dialogues, how the characters in the play behaves towards each other, and how their speeches and dialogues come in the play. We can see the act 1. This act centers on Om, who signs up to be an organ donor for an American woman named Ginny because there are no other jobs available for him in Mumbai. Through the dialogues of Ma, Jaya and Om, it is understood that Om has lost his job as a clerk and got a new one in an American company called Interplanetary Services. But what is his job in Interplanetary Services is not known to him. Om says, I went because I lost my job in the company. And why did I lose it? That he talks about the lost job that as a clerk, because I am a clerk and nobody needs clerks anymore. There are no new jobs now. There is nothing left for people like us. Don't you know that? Then there is us and the street gangs and the rich. So he talks about those having in a situation that is jobless, and he compares it with those poor people and the rich people. He was selected to the new job of Interplanetary Services, but the nature of that job is not known to him. Om says, I got it, he says about that job. He got that job. About the new job, Ma is very happy to hear the news because that brings money and prosperity to their home. Ma replies to Om, say the blessed words again. That means say the blessed words again means that I got it. Ma wants to again hear that word, I got that job, that Om says. I never stop saying it, I have got the job. That is, kiss me, let me hold you, fondle your ears. And this is in the happiness mode of Ma, who talks to Om about the new job and about the payment or the money he is going to get. Om was selected to the new job from 6,000 men. In the interview, there were 6,000 men, and Om only was selected to the new job. What is his new job? That means his organs are sold in that interview. His dialogue reveals the hardship and difficulty in getting the job among 6,000 men. Inside a building, like a big machine, they had like iron bars snaking around and around, and everywhere there were guards. But after getting the job, Om only needs to sit home. This wonders Jaya and Ma that what kind of job pays a man to sit at home. Jaya and Ma are very doubtless how he got that job, and as well Om needs not to go for a job, but he can only sit in the home. So Ma asks, what kind of a job pays a man to sit at home? Om to Ma says that we will have more money than you and I have names for. Who would believe there is so much money in the world? Om says, money comes from abroad. That about his job. This shows Om's complex feeling of hope and despair after signing the contract. Initially, he is excited in the new job, which offers him an unexpected amount of money for support. And best example for the pathetic poverty of the world, third world countries, compared to the richness of the first world countries. That means this dialogue shows the pathetic condition of the third world countries. After the selection process of the job, the company officials wrote down our names and addresses and that details. Then they gave us these packets. These packets means that those food pellets, and told us to not to open them, and said we must go home. The guards would come with us for final instruction. These are the things told to by the guards or the officials of the interplanetary services. This is an example for their life is controlled by the company signed the contract for organ sale with Om and family. Later, the three guards from the IPS here means the interplanetary services, comes to install equipment, that means a contact module for Om's family, and three guards congratulate the family for their cooperation. That means they cooperated to install these lot of devices, gadgets in their home to control and to have a video conference with these family members by Ginny, the American girl for whom the organs are sold to. Guards want to know the family relationship of all people, during which Jaya says that she is Om's sister only. And she says sister, he is I am his sister, and her husband is Jitu. Because the company, the IPS company only select a single man, that means a non-married man. So he has lied in the job, in the interview, that he is not married. So sister here, Om's wife really is Jaya. Jaya says that I am sister of Om to those guards. When Ma asks about man's nature of job, Om's nature of job, Jaya discloses his organs are sold to Ginny. Here you please reread it as Om's nature of job. And Ginny says he is sold the rights to his organs, his skin, his eyes, his are sold them. And through the installed devices, Ginny talks to Om in scene 2 of Act 1. Ginny is very happy to have organs in the future. It is the most beautiful day of life, Ginny says. I feel I have got hope at last, and all because of you. You here means Om and his family. And Ginny sits on the wonders of world in contact module, video coach, etc. for the family, especially for Ma. The IPS guards have given them food pellets, food powders, jewelry items, perfumes, chocolate, and all the luxuries for the family for having signed the contract of organ sale. When Ginny talks to them, she realizes the truth of one toilet for 40 families in that tenement. In the apartment, there was only one toilet for 40 families. As soon as she realizes she orders to install one separate toilet for Om's family only, and the guards in the evening installed the toilet and a bath shower in scene 3 of Act 1. The terrible and pathetic condition of the family is disclosed in the speeches of Jitu and Jaya. Jitu says that the hunger is insatiable. A man has to protect himself against that hunger. He will find himself sucked dry new little mouths screaming, Papa, Papa. Little mouths with pig appetites. Oh no, I am afraid of the hunger, mortally afraid. Here Jitu talks that reveals that the condition, the pathetic condition and the poverty of their home. And as well, Jitu is a male prostitute that talks about his somewhat his regret or his prick of consciousness doing that kind of a male prostitution in street. It is revealed from Jaya that Jitu is a male prostitute. That is why so many of your clients here means that those who approach Jitu for sex are men. But Jitu argues with Jaya that there are more men with money to spare on services such as mine. The Act 1 ends with the dialogue between Jaya and Jitu on such talks of food, poverty, hunger, job, and money, and the condition of Om after signed for organ sale. Ginny pays to lead a clean and healthy life so she can harvest healthy organs whenever she needs them. So that Ginny installed a lot of things in their home, and Ginny gives them food pellets and food powders as well. She begins to control every aspect of Om's life from when and what he eats to whom he sees and how he uses the bathroom, etc. Interplanetary services reduces Om's house into a domestic unit, a lot of having a lot of gadgets, devices, etc. Where the family is forced to live according to Ginny dictates. What Ginny dictates, whatever Ginny says, that must be followed by the family members in that house. Though Om's wife Jaya is unhappy, she remains helpless throughout the play. This act exposes the hollowness of the first world countries that fail to realize the importance of human dignity. When Om discloses the nature of his new job to Jaya, she tries to make him understand the consequences of it. However, Om never tries to understand what Jaya says. He tells the same thing to his mother, and she seems to be very happy on the prospect of getting money and first world comforts. In the play, throughout the play, only Ma is very happy because she lives in the luxuries that is brought by Om through the organ sale. However, Om hides his marital status from the company as the contract demands unmarried donor. Thus, he introduces Jaya as Jitu's wife and Jitu as his brother-in-law in the play. His ordeals ends when he is taken for the second time. However, Jitu never realizes that on the prospect of sexual gratification, he is gradually deprived of his body parts. Ma is busy watching TV in her video coach, and Om has escaped from the scene, leaving Jaya to face the consequences. In Act 3, Jaya is shocked when she realizes that Ginny is only a computer-generated wet dream. It is old Virgil who is the actual recipient of the organs. Virgil is hungry of youth and who is not satisfied with Jitu's body. Really, the organs are sold to Virgil, but the character Virgil comes only in the Act 3. Until there, Ginny talks to these persons, and or the family members believe that the organs are sold to Ginny, but really Ginny is the representative of Virgil. In Act 2, that takes place after 2 months in the same apartment and room of one act, the settings on stage are fitted with gadgets, TV set, computer terminal, mini gym and air conditioner, and cubicles containing bathroom and toilet. And in the middle of that home, a Japanese style dining table. These all luxuries are provided by Ginny and Virgil through the interplanetary services. Jitu, Om's brother, donates his organs, and a case of mistaken identity, he is unlucky victim of the indiscriminate organ sale. Jitu's body parts are taken by the interplanetary services instead of Om. ജീത്തുവിനെ ഇവിടെ തെറ്റിദ്ധരിക്കപ്പെട്ടുകൊണ്ട് ഓമാണ് എന്ന് തെറ്റിദ്ധരിക്കപ്പെട്ടുകൊണ്ട് ജീത്തുവിൻ്റെ ബോഡി പാർട്സുകളാണ് അവർ എടുക്കുന്നത്. പക്ഷേ അത് ശരിക്കൊരു പ്ലോയ് ആയിരുന്നു, വെർജിലിൻ്റെയും ജിന്നിയുടെയും ഒരു പ്ലോയ് ആയിരുന്നു എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. അതായത് ജീത്തുവും അതേപോലെ ജയയും തമ്മിൽ ദേ ഹാവ് എ ലവ് അഫെയർ. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ജീത്തുവിൻ്റെ ശരീരം വെർജിലിന് കിട്ടിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ജയയെ സെഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ എളുപ്പമാണ് എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ദാറ്റ് വാസ് എ സിനിസ്റ്റർ പ്ലാൻ ഓഫ് വെർജിൽ. ആൻഡ് ലേറ്റർ ഹിസ് ഐസ് ഹാവ് ബീൻ റിമൂവ്ഡ്. Om is shocked to see his brother in such a deplorable state. Yet it turns out that Jitu, who has been living for himself all the years, is ultimately paying a price by sacrificing his organs for the financial prospects of the family. Then Vidit Bai has come to use the toilet and they argues the right of Bai's right to use the toilet. Vidit Bai is the friend of Ma in the play and also a neighboring family member. Ginny appears on the contact module to make sure their life and health in better condition and warns Jaya. It is told by Ginny, it is a scientific fact that people who smile longer live longer. Since she is the receiver of the organs, she wants to be happy. All of the family members must be happy and in a merry-making mood. When Ginny is tired of talking to them, she disappears in this act from the contact module or from the video phone. Before Jitu is mistakenly taken by the RPS guards, Jitu says to Om, "Thank you for inviting me to share the comforts of your modest home with me, your younger brother." Later, Jitu becomes ill and he says, "I am ill, I am going to die soon," because he is infected from drinking polluted water, and as he is he is affected with diseases from his sex works. And Jaya tries to treat Jitu and Jaya tries to comfort Jitu, and he lies in the on the middle of the stage. Meanwhile, Ma and Jaya wants to hide Jitu from Ginny and guards because Ginny may scold them having a man who is with full of illness, that is Jitu. So they want to hide Jitu from Ginny's view. I don't understand, Ma says, I don't understand how we plan to hide him. To hide him here means that to hide Jitu. Jaya is helpless and says, we abandoned him to the street. That is an example for he is a male prostitute who works in street. But Om is ready to improve the life. Here, I am willing to give my whole body to improve our life. And later, Om says, no wonder foreigners think so little of us. We have no pride, no shame in the third world people. And this condition says the lack of identity, those poor people in the third world countries compared to the first world. The third world people are always under a threat, as Om is frightened when he hears the knock of guards on the door. And Om says that whoever opens that door is my murderer, my assassin. That means he is in a full of anxious condition that he will be murdered. That means his organs will be taken away after he will die. This indicates his regret and anxiety after signing contract to donate his organs. And when guards actually arrives, Om hides in toilet cubicle from guards' view. Ma points to Jitu, and Jitu is caught by mistake by guard 1 for surgery of organs in Act 2 of Scene 3. In Act 2, Scene 4, all family members are in panic and in tension since Jitu was mistakenly taken as Om for organ transplantation. Om says, where the rich have licenses to hunt socially disadvantaged types, yes, that is what they have done with my idiot brother. Turn him loose to run with tongue between his teeth, the dog snapping at his heels. It was my fate to lie down in a trance, and my brother's fate to face the knife. And he is satisfied in that kind of a condition that he is saved, and also his brother is taken by mistake to face the consequences of organ sale. It's seen in the end of Act 3 that Jitu is brought to home in wounded condition by guards as his eyes and some organs removed in surgery by the IPS to donate it for the American girl Ginny and for Virgil. In Scene 4 of Act 2, the guards take Jitu instead of Om to do the surgery. Once the procedure is over, his eyes will be donated and he will be left wearing a pair of goggles that look like a pair of imitation eyes. Om expresses to Jaya that since they don't care about Om and his family, the less fortunate that they are going to operate on Jitu, even though they made a mistake and took the wrong person. In this scene, Om acts very cold-hearted and seems to only care about the money he is going to be receive. On the other hand, Jaya is very anxious and upset about what is taking place in their home. When guards bring Jitu back, he comes in white silk pajamas and his head all wrapped up in bandages. That means his organs are transplanted. And I won't listen because listening brings acceptance, and I will never accept. I will never live with this. That is told by Jaya, and she cannot accept that kind of condition of Jitu. Now that Jitu is not able to see, he feels trapped and built up with a lot of anger. Why? Because I am in a place beyond death. I am in a place worse than death. He feels in that condition. If Jitu feels this way rightfully, so then why does Om say that? He is selfish. Is Om only worried about the money he is going to be receiving from the procedure? In Act 3, the donation of organs turns out to be a radical transformation from man to machine when Virgil announces the desire to attain eternity by accepting fresh bodies for sustenance. The play suggests some of these market forces in its characterization of Virgil as a habitual receiver who has already used up three transplant bodies by time he targets Jitu as a donor. And in the play, his transplantation is the fourth one in 50 years. He already has done 3 transplants before he signed with Om. What seems to be a mere organ transplant turns out to be an apocalyptic one. Man's desire to control the cycle of birth and death is diabolic. Such as perception is maniacal, and it is Jaya who ultimately ends the ruthless approach of Virgil in the last part of the play. After being eyes removed by the IPS, Jitu says, a rich woman who plucks a poor man's eye out of his head. That is not a woman, it is a demon. This is a fine example of how the rich first world people exploit the third world countries. Jitu can't sleep, dream, cry. He says, after eyes removed, transplant takes place in Act 3 and Ginny says, well, now I am glad you like me because you know that. Now the transplants have started. The next phase of transplant of organs for the Ginny. Jitu says that he couldn't even touch or see Ginny, so Jitu thought Ginny was an old woman and she exists. And she is a goddess to Jitu, and he would do anything for her. In Act 3 of Agents come and install a super deluxe video coach for Ma and later a voice. That voice is of Virgil. Virgil comes in Act 3 only, and who comes, his first appearance is referred in the play as a voice, that is of Virgil. Who comes to talks to Jaya. The voice is really Virgil, an American citizen for whom the organs are transplanted. Ginny was computer animated wet dream, that is a cloying tone, who represented Virgil in the play. Virgil says to Jaya about organ sale, the body you knew is still alive. That means Jitu's body is still alive in me. That is by Virgil. He was willing to sell and I was willing to buy. Virgil was old and sick until he got this young body. Virgil was more than 50 years and he was very old and sick. He became very young after receiving the organs of Jitu. The real intention of the organ transplantation, according to Virgil, is look for young men's bodies to live in and young women's bodies in which to sow their children, and they lost the art of having children. Hence, Virgil tries to seduce Jaya throughout the play. അപ്പോൾ ഈ പ്ലേയിൽ എന്താണ് യുവാക്കളായിട്ടുള്ള ആൾക്കാരുടെ ഓർഗൻസ് കിട്ടുക, അതേപോലെ യുവതികളായിട്ടുള്ള പെൺകുട്ടികളുടെ ബോഡിയിലൂടെ കുട്ടികളെ ഉണ്ടാക്കുക അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കുട്ടികൾ ഉണ്ടാവുക എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു സംഭവമാണ്. ആൻഡ് വെർജിൽ സേസ് ദേ ലോസ്റ്റ് ദ first world countries lost the art of having children. That also an example for loss of their culture. And Virgil reveals to Jaya that he has done 4 organ transplantation in 50 years to be very young in his life. When Virgil tries to seduce Jaya, he says, "Honey, I am real and warm willing. This body which once belonged to Jitu now contains a red-blooded all-American man. This body is hot with life and heavy desire." Here, life and heavy desire means his desire for sexual gratification in Jaya. Virgil's sexual gratification in Jaya. "This body aches for you and to give you what you earn for." This body aches for you and to give you what you earn for. That talks about Virgil's seduction scene, and Virgil tries here to seduce Jaya in the last part of the play in Act 3. But Jaya doesn't yield to Virgil. Later, Jitu's figure comes on the contact module in his organ removed condition between the talk of Jaya and Virgil. When Virgil tries to seduce and take Jaya, who says she is going to take her life, and finally she is left alone in the play. That means Virgil won't win to attain the attraction of Jaya in the play. So at the end of the play, Jaya is left alone to face the consequences in the play. And now we can see the themes in the play. You may by heart some of these lines in the play, and you can use in the examination. We can see themes of the play in the harvest, that is sale of human organ, then commodification of the third world body by the first world people or individuals, then spiritual emptiness of a society seduced by the promise of wealth, how poverty limits moral options, then fascination of the Western world, man's diabolic desire to control the cycle of birth and as well death, exploitation of cross-cultural relationships, economic and social legacy of Western imperialism, misuse of modern medical and reproductive sciences, hollowness of the first world countries that fail to realize the importance of human dignity. Here, reproductive science is a science that it may be a department in hospitals now. And transformation from man to machine and man and vice versa. Loss of identity and freedom, then deterioration of marital relations, breakdown and disintegration of family as a social unit. Impact of modernization, westernization, industrialization and mechanization, globalization on current social setup. You think of Sophia, the first humanoid robot to be given a citizenship by country, that is Saudi Arabia, then Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times. You think of those characters in the history. Impact of technological advancement, science fiction on the stage. We can see a science fiction on the stage. The neo-colonialism, here mind is colonized rather than body or land. Then unemployment comes as a theme. Dehumanization of third world individual dignity. Third world poor people has no identity. Then TV addiction of city dwellers, city people. Then total addiction on modern gadgets. You think of mobile devices during this place. We are only 8 inches away from our screen, the screen addiction. Then prisons like existence, weakening of moralities, lack of privacy, then partiality of parents towards breadwinners, those who those who bring food to their home. Then artificial insemination. Artificial insemination means that you can see throughout the play how organs of Jitu are inseminated into Virgil. Treatment of donor world by the receiver world. Receiver world is compared as a vampire. Colonization of the body, then virtual reality versus hyper reality we can see in the play. One way of thinking about the play's engagement with globalization is through Arjun Appadurei's concept of the technoscape. We can see the technology, how it is used in the play. A term he uses to describe global configurations that involve high-speed movement of technology, both mechanical and informational, across previous boundaries. Then futuristic slavery also comes as the theme. Then intellectual slavery, brain drain is a best example. Those second, third world brain not working for their country, that is drained by the first world countries. ഇന്ത്യയിൽ നിന്നുള്ള ഒരുപാട് ബുദ്ധിജീവികൾ അമേരിക്കയിലും മറ്റുള്ള ലോകരാഷ്ട്രങ്ങളിൽ പോയിട്ട് ജോലി ചെയ്യുക എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ബ്രെയിൻ ഡ്രെയിൻ ഉദാഹരണമാണ്. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ സുന്ദർ പിച്ചെ, സത്യ നെതല്ലെ എറ്റ്സെട്ര. Then pessimism comes as a theme in the play. Then post-apocalypse, a future. Humanoid robots, Sophia, Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times, etc. Man out of the machine, Ginny, Virgil. And as well, man out of the machine comes as life, and Ginny and Virgil are the example. Then dark humor comes in the play. Then we can see some of the gadgets or the devices or the technology becomes as theme in the play. The Interplanet Services provides OMS family with the contact module, white faceted globe, video coach, sarcophagus, organic input interface, hydration filler, funcrometer, convertible type bed cum sofa, TV set, computer terminal, mini gym, air conditioner, cubicles containing bathroom and toilet, remote sources, electrical connection, then fuel preparation equipment, jewelry, perfumes, flowers, chocolates, etc. Then we can see the subversion of motherhood, mortality, role of family, husband-wife relationship comes in the play as themes. Then Jaya says to Om, if you were dead, I could shave my head and break my bangles, but this, to be widow by slow degrees, to mount you piece by piece. Should I shave half my head and break my bangles one at a time? And change of food to some pills and strange powders. That means food supplements and as well food powders. Cultural dilemma comes in the play as a theme. Attack on fast food system and readiness of youth to accept authority. And Jaya's illicit relations with Jitu doesn't provoke Jaya. Doesn't provoke not Jaya but Om as well. And chilling response from Om, Jitu and Ma to their empty meaningless life. Each of them is trapped by his or her own consciousness. Yet the playwright is hopeful of the Jaya-like characters. At the end of the play we can see only a optimism in the character of Jaya. Jaya says to Virgil, but I will die knowing that you, who live only to win, will have lost to a poor, weak and helpless woman, and I will get more pleasure out of that first moment of death than I have had in my entire life so far. And camera surveillance is also there. Then contact module, gazing of the machines. We can see those cameras fitted in buildings, in educational institutions, in street as well. Voyeurism, voyeurism, allegorical of the modern world, that is Adar. You can see there Adar. And stages of colonialism. First, the IPS cut the socialization of Om's family. Then the creative parts, that is Jitu's body. Then that are the some of the themes in the play that is discussed. You can use those themes in your exam as well, in essays and paragraphs. Now you can pause the video and understand the detailed character sketch of those important characters in the play. I don't make a narration, but you can, if you want, you can read here. This is the character of Om through 3 or 4 slides. You can read here. Pause the video. This is the character of Jaya. Jaya's character is most important in the play. You may be asked to write a character sketch of Jaya in the examination, because only in Jaya the playwright see a optimism for the third world countries. In the play, she is very assertive as well, and she is full of positive energy. Then character of Ginny, an American woman that already we have discussed. We have discussed the short character sketch in the part 1 of our video. You can read the detailed character sketch here. Ginny and Virgil represents the world of receivers, the first world countries or first world people. Thank you for watching this video, and you watch the video very carefully and understand how the play goes